Tell me the question you found most difficult to ask someone. Yeah.
Why was Danerade month delayed?
I will. Marry me, will you?
Jackbox, the quintessential let's show off how much I hate my friends. The Jackbox company has been around for many years, dating all the way back to over a quarter of a century ago. That's literally older than my dog. My dog is pretty old. In a lot of these early games, you can see a lot of parallels in the type of games they made to the ones they make today. The Jackbox party packs are a collection of little party games all in a cheap and affordable package. It has a little bit of everything: trivia, lying, drawing and lying, being lied to by the game, and Bookworm reimagined. It did well enough to warrant Jackbox making a sequel, and if you thought Nintendo made too many Mario games, then well, the number 8 is surely going to scare you this year. Each pack progressively started to get better and would have higher quality games, and implemented features we have grown to love about the series. But because of the 5 games included in every year's pack, understandably, not all of them are going to be winners. Some packs have a lot of 10 out of 10 games, while other packs have 0 out of 10 games. Some packs might have a more consistently okay collection of games. And now today, I wanted to talk about what makes a Jackbox game work so well, and what Jackbox can learn to avoid in future packs.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. And now that I've totally infiltrated your screen, I'm about to leak Danerade's face.
Hey look, it's the Beta 64 guy.
Now that I've forever ruined my relations with Danerade, I think that's a good segue to talk about some of the Jackbox party packs and their respective games. I kind of already did a video sort of like this if you want to go and check it out on my channel Vids. It's really funny. I did a party and
a couple of points to bring up before we start include: 1, I will only be including one of every game in a specific series, so no, I won't be talking about Quiplash 3 times. And 2, just to get my bias out of the way, I tend to lean more on the gamier side of Jackbox games. I play these games a lot, and sometimes I enjoy the games that have a little more complexity to it, in the vein of Push the Button, for instance. Oh, by the way, this is my friend Viddy. Please say hi.
Hello, Viddy.
Starting with the very beginning, the first Jackbox party pack is quite dated in retrospect. These first few packs are the growing pains of the series for sure. Not bad at all, still had some fun to be had. The series didn't find its footing till pack 3, so it is interesting to look back upon its early years. I believe we have almost been spoiled in some way in the recent packs. The production value has dramatically increased, but we have to start somewhere. I think it is uncontroversial to say that Drawful is the best game in the original Jackbox party pack.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Drawful. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm not that artsy. I mean, I can barely draw a circle.
Drawful is a drawing game where the objective is to draw as clearly as possible the prompt you were given on your device.
Here's a pro tip: if you play this game, try using the Wii U gamepad.
Then it will be put on the screen for everyone's dismay to see.
If you use the Wii U gamepad, your drawing would still be bad, but less bad.
But remember, if you are using the Wii U gamepad,
I love the Wii U gamepad!
Your drawing should be pretty good, just saying. Everyone will then guess what they believe the correct prompt is. Then all the prompts in addition to the real prompt are put up on the screen. Players then have to guess the correct prompt. Take Fibbage and add a drawing component to it, and that's basically what Drawful is.
The inherent game design makes this game generally a much funnier experience than Fibbage, since players are able to give a sense of each other's personality through the drawings that they make. Or you have the one guy who always makes their profile picture a little sussy. It's the little design decisions that really make Drawful stand out in my opinion. Limited color palette, the randomized color palette, the lack of an undo button, it all makes Drawful Drawful. I'd say the main complaint most people have is that you can start to get good at guessing which is the game prompt. They all have a very specific wording to them, and while other players can try and imitate the same dictation, most just end up writing more Among Us.
The prompts usually aren't written in a memey way. They are very direct and to the point. So for this reason, Drawful can feel a bit bland the more you play it, though later editions of Drawful would add on and perfect this concept, so the first one isn't really worth going back to in all honesty. As for the worst game, I'm sorry, Swatter fans, but oh wait, you don't exist.
Swatter isn't necessarily a bad game. Oh wait, it is. It's just that it's way simpler than the offerings we have now. Originally a mobile game.
Did somebody say mobile game? Oh no!
The original game was a single player experience, but now you can play it with all your stupid friends, up to 100 of them. If you can convince 100 people to play Swatter with you, just go and run for Senate at that point. And that's because all this game boils down to is true or false questions. It seems a little uninspired, like, wow, true or false, is Danerade secretly a communist? I'm not gonna beat around the bush here, guys. It's false. We already know he's a money-hungry capitalist, alright? How else could one person have 40 sets of unique Joy-Cons?
I'm sure if you play Live Swatter with your friends, you'll be able to find some enjoyment out of it. If I gave you a box of Fruit Loops, you'd still find a way to get joy out of it. Never mind, this is actually LeBron's favorite cereal from the hit movie Space Jam: A New Poopski. Clearly, no amount of jokes is going to convey to you all that. There isn't much to talk about. Very bad game. But did you know that female koalas have 2 vaginas? Now, I already know I might get a lot of pushback for saying this, but I like the game where you gamble. Oh no, is Danerade promoting illegal gambling?
Yes! Yes!
Oh crap. Bidiots is one of Jackbox's more complex games, and as I had stated in the beginning of the video, I like some of the deeper Jackbox games, but I'm also willing to acknowledge that they can be a bit too complicated. Woo! Or aren't refined enough. Spoiler alert, the Among Us game isn't going to be talked about today.
In Bidiots, people are tasked to draw prompts they receive on their device. The problem being that other people receive very similar prompts to yours. You could be asked to draw a horse, while your friend is asked to draw a pony. This is important, as the whole goal of the game is to buy art with high profits. As someone with a capitalist friend, I love when Jackbox promotes their lifestyle choices. The game will give you a few hints on the value of some art pieces, but the catch being it can be hard to distinguish between the individual art pieces with the prompts being just slightly different.
Many people complain that this game relies too heavily on RNG, as the similarity of the prompts can lead players to expect high rewards, when in reality it backfires spectacularly, which is kind of the point of the game. Plus, I'd make the argument that since you only get a couple of clues for the most part, the majority of the game is you studying the actions of other players. If you notice certain players going back and forth, bidding constantly, this implies they might know the art is worth a high value. Or maybe they are bluffing, maybe they thought it's one of the prompts they got when in reality it turned out to be different. The original person who drew the art receives 50% of the bidding price. So there are situations where the original artist might artificially increase the bidding price to give up the illusion that it's worth a lot more. The complexity in that aspect I love and adore. Though the biggest problem with this game is its pacing. As with any old bidding in real life, certain bidding rounds can feel extremely long due to players painstakingly bidding inch by inch, trying to get the art for as little as possible, which I totally understand, but Bidiots is like committing to a team building meeting. They are long, boring, and pointless. Screw team bonding, I much prefer anarchy.
I'm pretty sure Jackbox made this collaboration with doctors to spread anti-Q-tip messages. The gameplay of Earwax is comparable to the enjoyment of you literally removing earwax from your ears. You know, at least the game isn't blue. And you don't even randomly find coins when playing Earwax. Well, now I can get a candy bar!
There just isn't much going on in this game really to warrant to make it great. This game is like apples to apples, but with sound effects. One player is the judge and picks a topic, then players have to best match that topic by picking 2 sound effects they choose on their screen. The problem being, you can't listen to those sound effects beforehand, so it's kind of a blind experience for everyone, as you truly don't know if your sound effects are gonna land or flop. Most of the time, nothing turned out to be very funny, and the judge kind of picked the best one from an ironic perspective. Basically, if you have a gunshot or a fart sound effect, you win. And because the gameplay isn't really that funny or engaging in any way, it makes this one feel like a really stale experience. Just like buying french fries at KFC.
Hi, can I get 1 order of french fries, please? Yeah. Okay, here are the Kentucky Fried Chicken french fries, and I can confirm they are not that good.
You already know what game we're gonna talk about. It's Guesspionage. I know it is. It's easily in my top 40 favorite Jackbox games. Oh.
Quiplash is simply the pinnacle of Jackbox game design. It encompasses the pure essence of the series. It is very fun. Yep, good job, review over.
Quiplash is a very simple concept, yet its execution makes this one of the go-to Jackbox games anyone can enjoy. The game is generally structured like a Mad Lib, where you either have to fill in the blank or finish and answer the prompt given on your device. Your answer will then go head-to-head with another player's, and everyone else will vote on who they think had the funniest prompt. Play 3 rounds of this, and the person with the most points at the end wins. If you don't think you're a very funny person, I'd start running if I were you.
With its friendly pickup and play nature, Quiplash is easily one of the best games to use at a party. Like, there are some games you might only want to play with like a close group of friends, but Quiplash, anyone from mom, dad, uncle, best friend, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, crazy neighbor down the street, just mention Quiplash and Ooga Booga?
Now, the only problem with Quiplash 2 specifically is the final round. I much prefer its iteration in both Quiplash XL and Quiplash 3. Here you may be given such prompts as trying to make an acronym for something, or maybe to finish a comic. I don't know, for a game that's always had so much room for creativity, it has always been so weird to me that the final round doesn't leave a lot of room for possibilities or funny answers. Other than that though, you really can't go wrong with any of the Quiplash games.
For you international fans, there's an international version of this game with unique French, German, and Spanish prompts for all of you. Now all of you Book Québécois fans can play along just fine. The problem with Pack 3 is that it is a really good pack. So none of the games, in my opinion, are supremely awful. Quiplash is just jokey fun. Trivia Murder Party has the right amount of skill and luck, in my opinion. Fakin' It is a really great game that is extremely underrated, in my opinion. And TKO, while divisive, definitely has a place among the Jackbox games as it caters heavily to the passionate artists. And because of this, Guesspionage kinda gets screwed over as being the worst game of the pack, just on a technical level.
Guesspionage is just a little too simple in nature, which is why it often gets outshined by its other brothers. That doesn't mean it doesn't have inherent value though. This is the type of game you'd play after a long session of Jackbox, just to sort of wind down and unplug your brain for a while. Players are shown a selection of polls conducted somewhere with some people, I don't know who, what, where, when, or why. They claim that they polled people on the internet, and on the left side it says global data, but I'm holding my breath. That's the biggest critique of this game, is that the poll responses are sometimes just a tad questionable, and also it can be boring sometimes.
I think that's why people feel overwhelmed with this game. The gameplay barely evolves, as all you're doing is guessing the percentage of how they answer the poll. And while I don't mind this game at all, it really just doesn't do much in the grand scheme of things.
Monster Seeking Monster is a game where you date your friends.
Yes!
Monster Seeking Monster is, pretty baffling, but oh my god, I love this game. I'm telling you right now, for a while, I would play this game religiously. My friends and I got sweaty.
Monster Seeking Monster presents a unique sort of experience by combining the skill and strategy-oriented structure of something like Bidiots with Hotel Transylvania. Of course, who could forget the most terrifying creature of all? Mommy.
The premise of the game has players texting each other about really whatever you want, I suppose. Just be warned, it's going to be shown to everyone else, so pick your words carefully. Your goal is to get a date by the end of the night. You do this by bonding over with another player and texting them to hopefully form a spark, and then to go on a date. Each of you successfully choose each other, you go on a date and get a heart. The player with the most hearts at the end of the game wins. Now, of course, this seems pretty standard enough, but there is a catch. You all are secretly monsters! I'm still waiting for the DLC where they make the neighbor a monster in this game.
This game works pretty well, as you can use it either as a fun experience to get a few laughs out of your friends, or you can go into complete sweat mode and question every single little thing that your friends have ever done. You can try to manipulate players to think you're going to date them when instead you are secretly trying to hook up with someone else. Yep, Jackbox is promoting catfishing. They're creating the real monsters. Each player's monsters will slowly be revealed over the progression of the game, which means there's a hint of strategy in maybe not dating a player on a night. Revealing your monster could be a huge misfire, and not keeping it a secret could be really damaging to your success.
A point that Two Left Thumbs brought up in their review is that there are more monsters than players.
Now this game is set for a maximum of 7 players, but there's somewhere around a dozen different monsters. And that's the real secret to this game, is you're not going to know which monsters were a part of your group until the very end.
The one main problem with this game is that the monsters and their abilities are kind of all over the place. At the peak of my friends and I playing this game, we went as so far to make a tier list, and we quickly realized that, yeah, a handful of monsters suck in this game, and at least in my opinion, some monsters just appear more often. Like, I feel like nobody ever gets the vampire, but that could be chalked up to pure chance. And then the zombie exists. It seems pretty lopsided that you have one monster that acts as an infection, where if a certain number of people get infected, they gain a heart, while as the zombie, if everyone is infected, instead of stealing hearts or gaining hearts, they just automatically win. I'm still waiting for the 1.1 update where they balance the game's cast. All I ask is that you make the neighbor the worst monster, and then we are all good. Oh no, 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 no. I don't like this game. It's just kind of boring. This game is very similar to Quiplash in that you'll be asked to answer a prompt, and that prompt will go head to head with someone else. The one slight problem being that because this is a bracket, you know, the thing that's in the name of the game in the first place, the answers people put in will reappear, which means the initial laugh value and impact completely dies off. This makes bracketeering feel really pointless in comparison to Quiplash, as everything just doesn't become funny. In later rounds, they introduce blind brackets, which somewhat alleviates the concerns I just addressed, but still, while the prompt might change, the actual answers don't, so you still know what is to come. I don't know, I think with enough refining, this game could have been amazing, but as for now, it remains in the shadow of its better, bigger brother. I think it goes without saying that Patently Stupid is probably the best drawing game Jackbox has made to date. Yeah, oh, stop whining, TKO fans. In Patently Stupid, players are tasked with drawing up inventions to problems we all have. God, I just can't wait to see Danerade's videos. Boy, do I have the invention for you.
The true magic of this game is the addition of the player-made prompts. They're all a fill-in-the-blank format, which is vital to the perfection of this game. This makes all the prompts feel personalized, as the opportunities for inside jokes are infinite. After everyone writes their responses, players receive a couple of them that they can choose from to create an invention to solve. Afterwards, all players design, name, and create a tagline to go alongside their new invention. After everything's been said and done, the players now have to present their inventions to the masses. At the end of it all, you and your friends will decide which invention deserves the funds required to be greenlit. If an invention receives the funding goal, the investor receives double the money they had put into it. If not, then the inventor receives whatever funding they get. The person with the most money at the end wins.
The sheer absurd inventions people come up with is such a joy. Now, this game is definitely one of the longer Jackbox games, but I assure you, if you can get through it all, it is extremely rewarding. Zeeple Dome is a stupid. Dumb. Dumb again. This is easily one of Jackbox's worst games, and it stinks that I have to say that. Pack 5 has both Madverse City and Patently Stupid, which are such excellent inclusions, and then they throw in this garbage. At least according to the Jackbox wiki, apparently this game was rushed and had development troubles, and boy does it show. I straight up could not convince any of my friends to play this game, so welp, solo it is. You control your little character, avatar, astronaut, crewmate thing, and fling them across the screen to destroy these enemies. Oh wow, Angry Birds ripoff. Then do it again, and again, and do it until you get bored. I was bored 24 seconds in. The gameplay suffers from a supreme lack of, well, gameplay. There isn't much to do in this one. The concept never really evolves, and everything about the game is bland and underwhelming, and therefore the whole game suffers as a whole. This really does feel like it would fit well as a mobile game, but as a Jackbox game, I was suffering just playing this one alone, but with actual humans, I'm pretty sure it's considered an illegal form of torture in other countries. Just avoid this game at all costs. Oh yeah, I can talk about the game with murder. I love this part of the video. Trivia Murder Party is the perfect blend of sugar, spice, and everything not nice. From having your life, that is. It has enough actual skill and RNG to feel rewarding. You never feel like you're ever out or can just sit back and relax. Everyone is always in a tense state, especially that final round. Trivia Murder Party is a trivia game. What? You have to answer wacky trivia questions, and if you get them wrong, uh-oh. I actually find the trivia to be fun and fair in a way. Like, yeah, some of the questions are a little BS, but A, that's the point, and B, they have such a wide variety of topics that every game or so you're bound to know 100% the answer to a couple questions, making the payoff of you having vast trivia knowledge feel that much more rewarding. Plus, in the worst case scenario, you have a 25% chance of getting it right.
When any player gets a question wrong, which is bound to happen, a minigame will commence, usually putting you up against your fellow players. Many of the minigames aren't just a snore fest. Many times the people saved that don't have to participate still get to affect the outcome in many instances. You know how in a game of Mario Party, when it's not your turn, you aren't always inclined to really care about what's happening on the screen too much, unless it's in the late game. Here, Jackbox has alleviated this issue by keeping everyone engaged the whole way through, which is a huge accomplishment. I haven't had my attention on one thing for over 14 minutes since— is that a snail? The cohesion of these elements is what makes this one tick so much. To bring up Mario Party again, if you remove the boards, woo! It's just a regular minigame collection. If you remove the minigames, it's just a standard board game. It's the flow of both elements that makes Mario Party so monumental. The inclusion of both the trivia and the minigames makes this game work so well.
Make new words. Make synonyms of those words. Write a sentence with those words. This game is lame. Making school projects fun since 2020, Talking Points brings everyone's worst nightmare to Jackbox form: public speaking.
The Talking Points is a really simple concept, but I find the simpler, newer concepts that Jackbox has come up with have worked tremendously well. This game and its structure is actually very similar to Patently Stupid, but instead of inventing a solution, you will be giving a presentation to reflect the type of prompt players receive. So everything great about Patently Stupid still applies here. You'll have a second player controlling the PowerPoint, and they get to choose between a selection of photos, and I have no idea how and where the Jackbox team got some of these photos, but they are some of the most hilariously absurd photos man has ever created. I submitted some of my own to Jackbox as a company, they didn't take them. It makes the whole experience prime for laughter, as you might be giving a perfectly fine speech until this abomination shows up on the screen.
There are, in fact, a few problems that bring this game down. For one, people during the presentation gauge what they think the quality of the presentation is. The problem with this is either one of two scenarios happen. Either people only go way at the bottom or way at the top, and it doesn't reflect their actual opinion of the presentation, or people are so entranced with the presentation that they kind of are disengaged with voting and just have their hands stay still. This game works best if everyone is honestly illustrating their opinion during each presentation, but that can be hard to guarantee sometimes. The other problem is that I do think the awards at the end need to be toned down a bit. What usually happens is everyone names the awards the same thing and nominates the same people. I had a round where everyone had a Fortnite Joy-Con award, please don't ask, and the same couple people received all the awards. Yeah, it can be funny, but it sometimes undermines the actual good presentations. They lose horribly because they didn't win the gay award. Still, a fantastic conclusion, and the laughs I've had already outweigh any problems I have, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, my throat. Blather Round may leave you all profound. When the time will come, please do not be a bum. Let it loose. Don't be a silly goose. So when you ask how, the answer is now. Yeah, Poe taught me how to do that, not Blather Round. A theme presented in most packs is that the worst game typically falls in one of two categories. Either they are rushed and feel lacking, or are just simpler and to the point. Think Guesspionage. And I feel as though Blather Round falls into this camp. In such a solidly consistent pack, a game sticks out a lot.
You know the genie where he is trying to guess what you are thinking? It's role reversal time! Now everybody else has to guess what the genie, or player, you know what I mean, is thinking. Or in this case, what pop culture icon or thing they have secretly selected on their device. I can compare it most to charades, but if they could not talk and if your words and clues were pretty limited, it's a fun enough game, though the prompts given to you can just be all over the place, especially depending on how sharp your pop culture knowledge is. Still, a nice game to round out Pack 7.
I'm not voting for any 9/11.
Dude!
Job is fundamentally Quiplash in a lot of ways. You have to answer a prompt given to you, players go head to head, and everyone else votes on which they think is their favorite. Oh, but excuse me, it's different because this game allows for 10 players. However, there is one distinct difference, this little blob of existence. The host of this game is just sublime. Bubbles has the right amount of seriousness and goofiness, like she's just trying to do her job. But then she asks the question of, the office is trying to go, quote, green. How would you personally try to save the planet at work? Well, it must be done.
Players will be asked random questions that they must answer. These questions will not be judged, but rather be used to set up the second part of the round. The words from everyone's answers are then given to random players to be used for their answers to the actual question that will be voted on by everyone. And while yes, this inherent structure leaves less creativity than Quiplash, as your opportunities for jokes are kinda dependent on your peers' answers, though at least in my experience, if your friends answer each question honestly, you should have enough words to make something work. Plus, as the old saying goes, less is more, and in all honesty, a lot of the one-word answers would win in fact just because, funny haha, he said God! Hey! If another person uses the Lord's name in vain, I am going to crack!
I also want to point attention to the presentation of the game. While most recent Jackbox games have killed it in their presentation, I think the simplistic and corny nature of Job shines a lot here. The addition of the word art we all used to play around with as a kid was a nice touch. Having the very obviously obtrusive transitions like in a PowerPoint presentation also made sense. It just added to the theme of how kind of unorganized the office feels. Gives me, well, office vibes.
Ah yes, our final game. After talking about 15 Jackbox games, we've arrived at our destination. This game sucks.
The Wheel of Enormous Proportions, which I will be shortening to as just The Wheel, is so infuriating to me. I was really excited to have a trivia game that wasn't Trivia Murder Party or You Don't Know Jack. It seemed like a nice breath of fresh air. I also appreciate the Jackbox team attempting a brand new art style, which seemed to be a running theme among Party Pack 8, which I greatly appreciate. I also think it can be said the host of the game is among one of the best. With a great voice, great delivery, it just fits the rest of the game well. Other than that though, that's kind of where my praises end. The Wheel just takes the ideas of Trivia Murder Party and misses the whole point of it. I'm not trying to say that these older packs have better games and I am more nostalgic for them. As I just explained, we have games like Job that can take some of the framework of other games and make it distinct enough, and still quality to where in certain situations or moods I would want to play it over Quiplash.
Fundamentally at its its core, the wheel is just too luck-based. And you might be saying, well, so is Trivia Murder Party. Yes, of course Trivia Murder Party has luck, but to balance the luck, it has enough gameplay and controllable elements to still make it feel like everyone is on the same playing field. Even the question format reflects this problem. In the wheel, you are given a question and have to fill in all of the options that correctly answer that question. In something like Trivia Murder Party, it's just a simple A, B, C, or D question. Just guess, for Christ's sake! Oh no. The wheel simply has too many variable answers for your skill or knowledge to really result in anything.
You'll answer a couple of trivia questions, and then everyone will be moved on over to the wheel. This is where the Mario Party-esque crapshoot starts to come into play. It doesn't matter how good you are at the trivia portion. Your perfect performance could be squandered in a matter of a single wheel spin. This makes every action you take, from yourself spinning the wheel or the trivia you answer, feel pointless. In Mario Party, you can still do things like win minigames to increase your chances of winning. Here though, I don't feel that at all. It fundamentally becomes a game of just spinning a wheel, which I could do that easily any day if I really wanted to. Oh, so that's why Danerade month got delayed. The wheel of enormous proportions is a huge letdown that really could have worked, but I feel as though the structure of the game is too far from saving. It would require a massive overhaul in my opinion.
Well, boy, was that a wild ride. The Jackbox series of games has always been a personal favorite of mine, and love them or hate them, there's a little bit of something there for everyone. Even at their worst, Jackbox continues to innovate and make so many great games, a lot of which could have also been talked about today. However, I did go over every Jackbox game previously before, and if that sounds like something you'd like to watch, there's a video link in the description.
Well, that sucks, doesn't it?
This was week 4, whatever. Hopefully next week's topic will be on